Peace and blessings, Hetepu, once again. So good to be with you. So we're coming to the part of our sessions, of our series, our conversation, whatever you wish to call it, wherein we're looking at how right thinking, right words, and right deeds help to nurture and further our lives. It's really important to understand that everything that we do begins with a thought. There's nothing that we accomplish in life that does not start with a thought in our mind, whether our subconscious or our conscious mind. And in understanding that, we come to understand also that our nonverbal expressions, body language, plays a really important role in how we communicate with others. So oftentimes we will say one thing, but we will do the opposite. And so when we do that, what ends up happening is that we are sending mixed signals or mixed messages. Sometimes for our family members, close family members, they'll just say, oh, well, that's how Joni is, or, Kwasi or Kufi, whatever. That's just the way he is. And they accept it. But a lot of times that kind of behavior in a larger social order, people will not accept that, and it creates rifts or it creates conflicts in the way we're presenting ourselves. A lot of times it creates confusion in our interaction with others, and you can be seen as untrustworthy or inconsistent, wishy-washy. Like you're not a person who can be depended on because you're always changing your mind. You're fickle. Okay. And a lot of times, that's not our intention, is to be fickle. But again, because of learned behavior, we send these mixed signals and people never really know where you stand or what you're for. We have to get control of that, because in a close, intimate family relationships, what it does is it makes it difficult to be able then to chart courses together, plan, execute, because the person doesn't know which way you're going to go. So learning how to say what you mean what you say, is an important part of relating with others. Another aspect of being right in your relationship is to be mindful that it is very important to not be deceptive. Deception can create lack of trust, having hidden agendas, not being upfront. You present your person as not being honest, which again may not be your intention. So it's important to, as they say, come clean. If you're having a conversation about doing something, don't say one thing in front of you and then in the back of your head, you're having another conversation and you have no intention of doing. You say yes, but your yes is really a no. Okay? And this is a big one. Right thought, right deeds. Many times we're in our relationship and we're having challenges, we're not able to manage them effectively. And so we make a really bad judgment call, bad decision. We decide to break the vow that we made to that person on that wedding day, or when we made the decision to commit to a relationship. The till death us do part is not finite. Is not, for you, it's not something that this is forever. It's temporary. For the other person in the marriage or the relationship, it's permanent because they gave their word. When we do this one singular act has destroyed many, many marriages and relationships. It delivers heartache to the one that you say that you love. So that's an action that can derail and destroy your life. And then we have a situation where sometimes, again, you're in your relationship, you may be somewhat kind of sort of happy, but still looking for, I'm hanging in this, but I'm going to see what else is out there. Okay? And we may see a man or a woman in a relationship and we become envious. I want what he or she has. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes what happens, and I have had to deal with this, the person will move to interfere in the other person's life, with their mate, their husband or whatever, as a way of trying to derail the relationship. That is wrong. Okay? It is not a righteous thing to do. Very important point is the next one. I have this as, so we've gone through 4 of them, so this is number 5. The abuse of intoxicants, substance abuse, alcohol, drugs, pills, cocaine, marijuana, recreational smoking of marijuana. Our ancestors considered that polluting your body. And if your body is polluted, then your mind oftentimes will be polluted. As a substance abuse counselor for many years, I have worked with individuals in family who, because of their abuse of various intoxicants, they become dysfunctional in the relationship. They're unable to be consistent with their duty or responsibility as a, husband, wife, parent. Okay. When this is happening, they do not take care of their physical body. They don't nurture very well. They are not willing to give up the addiction. And when you're not willing to work and give up your addiction, then you're jeopardizing all of your social relationships, your work. Sometimes it gets so bad that you end up getting fired. Now you're not able to contribute to the family's betterment. Then the strifing and the arguments and whatever now proliferate. And then the family itself sometimes, whatever resources, whatever wealth the family may have, ends up being utilized in order to deal with your substance abuse. You end up going into treatment, maybe perpetually over years, and it impacts especially children in a very, very deep and profound ways. As a matter of fact, you are at that point modeling for your children how they should live. And beyond the constitutional health issues, the children many times will grow up and emulate that. So now you have created this generational blight within your family. Consider the possibility. Ask yourself the question, is my need to feel my high, to get my fix, is it worth the destruction? of my relationship with my husband, my wife, and my children. I'm not saying it is easy, but you have to weigh your whole life in relationship to that abusive behavior, rather, that addictive behavior. So your addiction is not simply your addiction. It now also becomes, the fallout of your addiction for the rest of your family. And then we also have, this is number 6 for us, some negative patriarchal and matriarchal modes of behavior. So you have this person and in your life, and maybe you didn't pay proper attention when you were courting them or whatever it is, that they had, certain strong opinions. But now you're together and you're realizing that the person has a heavy hand. They're my way or the highway kind of personality. That kind of position, those kinds of thoughts, the expression of that kind of thinking stifles families. It bends, and in some cases it can break, the relationship. And more than that, it can break your children. Such people, are not able to empathize or to see the point of view of the other person. So some of what ends up happening is that their family members will avoid them. They will not discuss with you ideas, things they want to accomplish, because invariably what you do is you will interject, not pay attention to what they're saying, and now create a situation in which you are demanding that the only way they can get whatever it is that if they do it your way. You have situations in which sometimes these patriarchal, negative matriarchal figures will actually withhold, resources. They will withhold even sustenance, using the withdrawal of food, let us say, from, a child as punishment because they want to have their will. Another way of looking at it is that negative patriarchal and matriarchal, modes actually are reflective of being dictators. So we have these, we're living with somebody, but we're being oppressed on a continual basis, and we now have a dictator with whom we cannot even have a conversation. So what is necessary in order to relate to each other is an attitude of compromise and flexibility. So reflect on this, food for thought, and in our next segment, we will talk about possible ways, perspective, and solutions that we might be able to, bring into our life in order to have, again, better relationships with family and friends. Thank you for listening. Etepo, peace and blessings.